Hello BookTube, hello friends, welcome to LizziefayeLovesBooks. I'm Elizabeth, and in this video I'd like to give you kind of a wrap up of the first week of March, or March Mystery Madness. Now, I have 5 books to talk about. Only 3 of them are mysteries, but the first 2 books I finished were really books that I had intended to read and finish for the Historiathon in February. One of them I got half done in February and finished it in March, and the other one was an audiobook that I had checked out on Hoopla that I didn't start until March, but it was quick and I finished it within the first couple of days of March, but really it was one that I had intended to read in February. And then the other 3 are mysteries. I don't have a physical copy of one of them. It was a read-along with the Bookish Bryants, and I'll talk about that in just a second. So the first 2 I finished. The one that I had been reading in February was for the Historiathon, for the prompt to read a book that is set in a war other than World War II. And this is set in the Revolutionary War. It's about Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton, and his wife Eliza. This is book 2 in a trilogy by Melissa de la Cruz. It's called Love and War. And I do want to finish the whole trilogy this year. I have a goal to finish 12 different middle grade or YA trilogies that I had only read the first one of prior to this year. And so this is the second one, the second book in this particular trilogy. So I will get to the third one, but it's not a mystery, so I'll postpone it a little while. It would have been great if I could have finished them both in the month of February, but I didn't, so I'm not going to cry about it. I am glad that I got this done finally in the first few days of March. I had to read it in print, but the third book I can get on audio. Our library has it on CD. And then the other one that's not really a mystery, it's more of a historical Christian romance, but it did have a mystery element to it, and it finished a series for me. This is Patience by Lord Copeland. It's the 6th and final book in the Brides of the West series. Now, the mystery here was that the story took place in a gold mine, and the whole surrounding area thought that the gold mine was haunted, and our main characters sort of stumbled into this gold mine, and the miner who had been mining it had died, and there was a boy that he was taking care of, and that boy was left alone. So our main characters find him and take up the raising of him and decide to take over this gold mine and claim it. And they can't get anyone to work with them because everyone thinks it's haunted. And then it kind of seems like it maybe is haunted. And our main male character sets out to figure out what's going on. You know, why is someone appearing to be a ghost, and why are they haunting, and what's their purpose, what are they getting out of it, and all that. So it was really good. I enjoyed it. I will probably talk more about this whole series now that I've finished it at some point, but I did forget to mention, because I read book 5 in February, and the reason that I got through these last 2 as quick as I did, because I've been reading this series for a while, and up to this point I've read them all in print, I believe. They started showing up not too long ago on audio. Actually, I think I did get to... Actually, I can't remember. Anyway, I've had to read most of them in print, but they have finally started showing up on Hoopla, on audio, and for a little while, only the first 4, which I had read, were on there. And then I just happened to check again, and books 5 and 6 showed up on audio. And I thought, oh, yay, I can get those done. Well, I can't remember the narrator's name, and bless her heart, I don't want to go off on a rant right now, but her pronunciations of a couple of the names in this book just about drove me insane. I was like, oh my goodness, where is this girl from? I mean, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it because I got to give grace, and I'm so thankful that they're on audio. I just don't know how these things get past the producers and stuff. You know, there has to be some rehearsing before the final track is laid, and I don't know how this kind of thing happens. Anyway, I gotta just not sweat the small stuff, I know. But anyway, suffice it to say, I did not like how she pronounced a couple of the names. Now, whether they were wrong or not, I could be wrong. I could be very wrong, but it wasn't how I thought it should be. So It kind of drove me crazy. But anyway, I'm very thankful that I got through this series and I can check it off my list. I really enjoy books by Laura Copeland. She has a lot of books, and I've only really started scratching the surface of her books, but what I have read, I have really enjoyed. Okay, then the first mystery that I finished, I don't have a physical copy of, but I read it with the Bookish Bryants on, we discussed it on Voxer. In fact, now that I think about it, I have not ever gone back and given my final thoughts. But it is Death by Dumpling by Vivien Chien. And several of us read that with them in the first few days of March. And it was really good. I thought that the characters were well, there was a good variety of characters, and it was a good setting. The main character's family owns a noodle shop, or like a restaurant, and they have their restaurant in a plaza type area that has a lot of other Asian businesses. I think it's called Asian Village. And so there's a beauty shop, and there's a bookshop, and a grocery store, and just all kinds of businesses. And I believe the owner of the plaza is the one who is killed at the beginning of the story. So we go through, we get to visit all the businesses and all the owners, all the people. There is a law enforcement officer, and while there's not a romance at this point, I think there's probably going to be eventually, which is kind of a trope with cozy mysteries, where the amateur sleuth and the professional law enforcement officer end up in some kind of a relationship. And so anyway, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I am trying to think now how it ended. I think that the person I thought it was going to be was not the murderer. So, that's good. I'm glad. I like to be fooled. If I think it's obviously going to be one person and it's not, then to me, that's a good story. It means that the author has kind of led me in one direction and fooled me, and then gone a different way. So I think that's cool. Anyway, it was a lot of fun to read that book. I did try to order it from our library so I could have a physical copy, and it said there was one copy in our county and it was in storage. So I called that library to see if they could take it out of storage and if I could get it, and they said sure. And now it's saying online that there's no record of it, so I think it's lost. So anyway, I probably won't be able to get a physical copy of that book. So then the next one that I finished was in my car on CD, and this is a delightful book, as are all of the books in this series. It's from the #1 Ladies Detective Agency. I don't remember now what number this is, but it's called The Minor Adjustment Beauty Salon. And there were a couple of different mysteries going on in this. One of them involved the owner of this beauty shop. Someone was trying to sabotage her business. And then there was another mystery involving someone who had died and left a will for his, leaving everything to his nephew, and the lawyer didn't believe that the nephew was who he said he was. She thought he was someone impersonating the nephew. So she comes to Ma Ramotsue and asks her to look into it. So those were the two mysteries that were taking place, and as with all of these books, they're just full of wit and wisdom and just delightful. I thought it was a wonderful book, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm jumping right into the next one. I have ordered the audio CD for my car so I can listen to it. And then the one after that I want to get to this month as well, because it has the word sunshine in the title, and I'm using that for the weather prompt. So I got to get to those. They're mostly all, pretty short, and I think I can go ahead and get through all three of those. And then one I technically finished it. I don't know if I should say technically I finished it this morning or technically I finished it a couple of days ago. I played through to the end of this audiobook a couple of nights ago, but I fell asleep at the end. So I realized after thinking all along that I had finished it, I went back today and I listened to that last hour again, and now I actually heard what happened. So I guess really I finished it today, but I'm going to probably count it from the first 5 days of the month or whatever. Anyway, I got to get this book back to the library because this is a brand new release and it's overdue. But I listened to this on Hoopla on audio, and but here's the physical copy by G.A. McKevett. It's called Murder at Mabel's Motel, and this is book 3 in the Granny Reid mystery series. Now, the Granny Reid mysteries are a spin-off of the Savannah Reid mysteries, but these are a prequel series. These are set in the 70s or 80s, and in this series, Savannah is a girl who wants to be a detective, and then in the Savannah Reid mysteries, she's an adult who is a detective. So that's kind of how that ties together. I have not read any of the Savannah Reid mysteries, but this one was tough. I don't really want to go into too much, but it was a little darker than I think than the first one. The second one was kind of dark too. It was set at Halloween. I didn't love this one, but it wasn't a bad story. Really, I would just kind of hesitate to call it cozy because it had ties to the mystery surrounded Nazis and the Holocaust and things like that. And it was just tough, the subject matter. And that was what the murder had to do with and all of that. So it did have some funny moments. There was also a moment where Granny Reid told off her son. So the premise of this is that Granny Reid is raising the children of her son and daughter-in-law, and they are very irresponsible. As you could imagine, when a grandmother is having to raise her grandchildren. So the daughter-in-law, they describe her as just being kind of a drug addict. She's always strung out on something, and at the time of this book, she's in jail. The son is a truck driver, long-distance truck driver, and he does not pay a lot of attention to his kids. There's one point here where one of the little girls has to go in the hospital for appendicitis. And so at that point, she's kind of hoping for her daddy to pay attention. And so Granny, her name is Stella, she calls the son, she gets a hold of him, and she basically lets him have it that he better pay some attention to his little girl who's in the hospital. And also, let me just give you a little spoiler. Apparently, he had had a conjugal visit with his wife in prison, and she's pregnant again with like number 8. And she's not in any position to raise a child, especially not, being in prison. So who's going to take care of that child? Of course, it's going to be Granny. And, while she's extremely mad that they let this happen, she's, of course, going to embrace this child and love him. And, that whole story is told throughout. So, I was just glad that she let her son have it. And he actually straightened up a little bit and did send his daughter some gifts and made her, very happy, in the hospital and stuff. So that was good. But, all of that being said, I know that type of thing happens in real life. I know personally a family locally where the great-grandmother has had to raise her great-grandchildren. And, it's just not the way that's not the way it's supposed to be. But, it happens. And I'm so thankful that there are grandparents and great-grandparents who are physically able to do that, when they need to. So anyway, I finished this twice and, I won't say I enjoyed it. I will go ahead and finish, I'll continue the series. I say finish. I am caught up now with this series. And I'll read more if more come out, but it wasn't my favorite because it was just gritty. So anyway, enough said. And then, is that everything? I guess that's all 5 of the books that I finished so far. Now, currently, I am reading The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is my read-along, and for those of you reading along with me, the goal by now is to have finished the first 76 pages, and I did just today go back and edit my Goodreads, in my Goodreads group, the schedule to include the audio sections. I tried my best to find the timestamps for each of the sections so that if you are reading on audio, you will know where each section begins and ends on the audiobook. So I hope that that helps you. But the book I've really got to get done or make some headway in right now is The Witch Elm by Tana French. Or Tana, is it Tana or Tana? I just started this today, actually. I read a little bit of it during my live sprint, and then I have picked up the audio. I have it on Playaway from the library, and so this is a chunker, but our Mystery Book Club is discussing this on Thursday, and today's Tuesday. So I've got to get busy on this. And it's, I don't even know how long the audiobook is. It's not short. And even because I have it on Playaway, I can't speed it up quite as much as I could if it was on Scribd or something. But anyway, I'll get done what I get done of it, but I do need to kind of put my nose to the grindstone with this one. I already think it's not going to be a book that I'm going to love. And the same for this. Neither of these are my cup of tea at all. But I'll get through them and move on. Then I think something I will love that I am going to be starting here pretty soon is some of the books from the Mr. Monk series by Lee Goldberg. The next one I have, I've already got it checked out from Hoopla, is Mr. Monk Goes to Germany. Then I don't own a copy of the next one. It's Mr. Monk is Miserable, but then I also have Mr. Monk and the Dirty Cop. I want to at least get these 3 done during the month of March, and then that will be all of the books by Lee Goldberg that I own from the Monk series. I've got one farther down the series that's by High Conrad, but I think once I finish this last one here that I own, I will go ahead and probably take these to the used bookstore and see if they want them. The next book in print I'm planning to read is one that I might regret. I don't know. These have been getting so elementary lately, but I'm going to give it a try. Triple Chocolate Cheesecake Murder. I'm going to try to read this in print because up to this point, for the most part, I have listened to these on audio, and the audiobook narrator is starting to grate on me a little bit. So I'm going to see if I enjoy it more in print, and we'll see how that goes. And also because I don't think it's released on audio yet. At least my library doesn't have it. I'll keep my eye out, and if I see it come up, I may still listen to it. The narrator's not bad. She's narrated all of them. It's is her name Suzanne Torin? Is that right? Anyway, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I'll put it down below in the description. But anyway, I'm just kind of ready for a change, and that's such a long series that I've kept up with it, and I've read all of them except for this newest one. So I just want to keep up. And then also on audio on Hoopla, I have Rebecca checked out. This is going to be for, really I don't need this for the person prompt or the single word prompt, although I may end up using it for the single word prompt because the other single word book title I have is one I've got to read in print. So if I don't get to that one, I'll count this one. But I do need to read this for book club at some point. And also I have Seven and a Half Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. And so both of these are going to be for future book clubs. And then the only other thing I brought in here to show you is another book I'm currently reading. This I only have on ebook. I've got at least 3 ebooks that I would like to read this year. And I should have pulled up the cover, but I didn't. So anyway, it is by Janice J. Richardson, and it is, I was actually reading this the other night when I was watching Janelle for her live sprint. I was reading this, and this is called First Call, and it's about a funeral home director. It's a cozy mystery series set in Niagara Falls, and it's about a funeral home director. This is book 4 in the series. I have read the other 4, and I can't get it. My Kindle is very slow. I did just the other day go and delete a bunch of stuff off my Kindle in order to have more room for books and my book catalog, which is on here. That's what's taking up a lot of space. And I got rid of a lot of the other apps and things that were on here. All right, here we go. Let's see. Table of contents. I'm trying to get to the cover where I can show you the cover. No, I don't want recommendations. I just want the cover. Anyway, oh, here we go. There we go, right there. It's just basically a girl looking out the window at Niagara Falls. So anyway, that is what I am reading on my Kindle. I've read some of it in print, but it also has the text to talk feature, so I will probably listen to some of that as well. It's not my favorite way to listen, to a book because it's just a robot narrator, but if it helps me to get through it a little quicker, then I may still end up doing that. Anyway, that is what I'm currently reading, what I plan to read next. In my car, I'm going to be reading, I think I already said that, the next one in this series. And I hope to have another couple of videos coming out this week. I may try to film another one today, and one of them is going to be about some middle grade books, because finally last month or month before I finished all of the Sunshine State books for this school year, and I would like to do a wrap up of those. I've got them all checked out from the library now, so that should be coming soon. And I started checking out the books that my Mystery Book Club is reading from the library. I want to try to have all 12 of those books here at one time and show you what we're reading every month. I've already talked about some, obviously the ones we've already read and the ones we're currently reading, but I've got at least half or more checked out right now, and I figured why not just go ahead and get the rest of them and show you those while it's March Mystery Madness. And then eventually I would like to show you all the books that my regular book club is reading as well, but I think I'll do the Mystery Book Club first since March Mystery Madness. So that's all I have for this video, and let me know what you're reading, how many books you finished so far for March, and if you're enjoying what you have read. I hope you'll join the Discord group if you haven't already. It's a lot of fun over there, and that's it for this video. I hope you're having a great day, reading a book, and God bless you.